Welcome to Lucy Makes, the channel for those of us who are sensitive and need some adaptation. Today I'm starting a series on super comfy waistbands. The first one is the soft jersey waistband. You're going to be making a pattern with me, but it's going to be for you. And then you're going to make a prototype, and it's going to be as soft and as kind as you need it to be. Let's get started. So this is what you're going to need. You'll also need some fabric scissors. And when you get to sewing, you'll need something to stretch. We're going to start by giving you a visual of the pattern that we are going to create. It will have a fold in it, so you can actually make a full thing. We're also going to fold the top of the waistband. So your full fabric cut is going to look like this. We fold the waistband so it's got a folded top. We fold it in half. We're going to stitch down that vertical seam. And what we will end up with is a tube, and it will fit around your waist. So with our material, we need to find which side is the really stretchy side. Polyester, jersey is going to be your best bet. It's just going to be really durable. The easiest way to figure out how much you need is to wrap it around yourself with the stretchy side. Make it really comfortable for you. So if you like it loose, make it looser. If you like it tighter, make it tighter. Mark however length you want. I've used a peg. Then lay out your material and see how long that is. For me, it's 82 centimetres. Time to pattern make. A rectangle, 15 centimetres high, 80 centimetres, but it's folded, so just 40 centimetres. Put allowances in if you want, I'm not, and cut it out. We get to our fabric, and the first thing you need to check is that you have got it the right way around. So you want the super stretchy side, and we're going to fold it in half because that pattern has a fold. Then we're also going to fold it again because the top of our waistband is folded. Take your time. These fabrics can be quite slinky, and they can take a little bit of time just to get all the wrinkles out and to make sure your folds really line up. Just doing a little bit of adjustment on mine here. This is honestly probably the hardest part of it. Once you've got it smoothed out, everything is flush, everything is flat, you can put your pattern on. Remember, one side is going to be on against the fold, and the top of the waistband is also going to be against the fold. I'm allowing an inch as a margin of error because I know myself, and I know I hate things that are tight. So if you know that you're a little bit on the loose side in your preference, just give yourself a margin of error. I'm also pointing out that my pattern has no allowances. So we call allowances for how much is on the other side of your stitch. I like to do my allowances when I cut, because I might be using a different machine or a different method to make a seam. So I use my ruler to give me the allowance that I want. I'm using this for my overlocker, and I only need about 6 millimeters of allowance. I am using a rotary cutter here. You can use your fabric scissors. Make long cuts rather than lots of little cuts, and you'll get a more straight and even cut edge. Gently peel it away. Any snags, go in and just cut them a bit. And voila, you have cut your prototype. We've got our folded edge and folded top. So just to remind you again, the whole thing will be a very large rectangle. So switching to our black waistband, we'll blow out a little in the camera, I'm afraid. We're not worrying about the top fold, we're just folding it in half, so we're worried about the vertical seams being together. What we do have to be concerned about is which side is the wrong side, which is the right side. Now that's going to be personal preference sometimes. I've chosen that side, that colour, and I've sandwiched those sides together. That's going to be on view to the world. It's also going to be against my skin. So then we stitch down our vertical seam. What that means is when we do that fold at the top of the waistband, all of those stitchings and seam allowance is going to be neatly sandwiched in the fold of our tube. So you won't see anything on the outside or against your skin except for this very neat seam. All the bits and bobs are tucked inside. Heading to the sewing machine, get your right sides together and pin your vertical edges together. You can use little pegs, they're great if you have them. Best invention ever. You can also use pins. I'll put one in there. The head of the pin should be away from the direction of your sewing. And that lets you take your pin out easily as you sew. Stitch selection. Because this vertical seam isn't on very stretchy fabric, because mine only stretches in one direction, I'm using a straight stitch. That means I can have my zigzag size on 0 because there's no zigzag. In terms of my stitch length, I don't want it too small and I don't want it super large. I'm going to put it midway. You can do a test if you like. Line it up. Tuck your tails away. And yes, I am working on a black waistband, so that you can see the pink thread. That needle and that groove is where it's going to stitch. I'm lining the edge of my foot with the edge of my material. If you've got a larger allowance, then you'll line it against one of those grooves, and that will keep your sewing very straight as you feed it through. You don't need to push, you don't need to pull. Your machine will feed this through by itself. Just keep it tracking along nicely. Again, I'm using that edge of my presser foot to keep my seam straight. And that's all the allowance that I allowed when I cut my pattern. And we start and we finish with a back stitch, and that secures our thread. So here's the back stitch. Jiggle your needle up and down so the threads run, and you can cut them. On the overlocker, again, this is my red waistband for my overlocker. I did actually stitch this on the machine, but it didn't show up too well, so I'm just going over my stitching. And I assume you know how to set the overlocker up if you're lucky enough to have one. The overlocker cuts the excess of your allowance as it stitches. And whether you have done it by sewing machine or overlocker, you are now finished with your seam. Time to try it on. Spend a little bit of time because sometimes the material will give with body heat. I needed to take mine in a little bit, so just go back to the sewing machine and take it in however much you need. Try it on again until you are happy with your prototype. Well, I hope your pattern and your prototype have turned out and are going to serve you well. It's not a full garment yet, and that begs the question of where we're headed. Your job is to go find yourself a garment that you would like to change up. It might have a terrible waistband, might be giving you muffin top, might be giving you tummy aches, might not even be tall enough. And as long as it's not got pockets, that's the one to choose. We're going to be doing a tutorial together where I show you how to cut down that garment and attach the soft jersey waistband. And hopefully that's going to make your life so much more comfy. In the meantime, I have a couple of small tutorials. One is the maths tutorial that I used to make my pattern. This is useful if you are online shopping and you need to calculate stretch percentage of materials. The second is for those of you where a rectangle waistband really isn't cutting it. If you've got a nipped-in waist, you'll want to have a look at that one. In the meantime, go find your garment, and then we'll be doing the sew along together. Here's to living life with ultimate comfort.